I send Marco some questions, he sent me some questions, and we're gonna talk about it. But for everybody who's kind of not familiar with Marcos, Marcos is I don't know if you call yourself a ghostwriter, it's not a ghost partner, you
I
know?
was a ghostwriter, and I kind of grew it. You know what most ghostwriters do in this industry, which is super cringe, is they get to 20K and then they either drop a course or they start
Or
coaching.
drop the ball.
Yeah, drop the ball. So it's like everyone gets to like 10 or 20K a month. They realize they're not actually business people. They're freelancers. I feel like I'm one of the few who have actually turned it into a business. I have a team, so um, it's a ghostwriting, media buying. It's more so just it's a marketing agency. It's an SMMA, if we're gonna be honest. It's a
Yeah,
growth partnership. Like it's classic, but cater for
yeah.
Twitter.
So yeah, it's he's just really good at monetizing audiences. Twitter, yeah, I think you do Instagram. Also, you do other audiences as well. But I just wanted to bring him to the podcast because his story is actually pretty inspirational. He maybe like 8 months ago, you were making like 1K a month writing, and now it's like you're hitting 30K plus months, and for your clients, you're making like 250K a month for your clients, and I'm like, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah,
Let's just riff because if there's this one thing that unites us, I feel it's we I was a ghostwriter, you are a ghostwriter, and we both kind of just don't like other ghostwriters. So
I hate other ghostwriters.
yeah, there's gonna be a few of the things we talk about, but yeah. Marcos, welcome to the show. I want to start with the question you asked me to ask you, which is, Marcos, how does one write a thread that makes money?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I think the common misconception with the threads is they think that there's like some sort of framework, mental model, etc. that's gonna make the money from the thread. Like if they, it's almost like remember the meme you sent me, the tactic hunter, the
Yeah,
tactic
tactic
hunter. Like
hunter.
if this had an editor, it would be on the screen. Like the tactic hunter. Like people think that there's some sort of tactic that's gonna make them money with with the viral threads, but it's
The,
not.
ta-
Well,
the tactic hunter is like when you're like, you feel like one thing is going to change everything. You assume that
yeah,
every little action you have has infinite leverage. So you
yeah.
say, I send out one DM and I'm not making money, but I sent it with the tactic you told me, Marcos. Why is it not making money? Right? That is a tactic hunter, the one that just tries new things over and over again and never
Yeah.
sticks to anything.
It reminds me. I was just watching it was like a Hormozy clip, and he was saying how he when he was growing up, he kept thinking that somebody knew something that he didn't, but that was never it. Right? It was genuinely just doing like the basic obvious shit that we always say, but like for beginners and like you don't know. It's easy to say when you're not a beginner anymore, but as a beginner, the biggest barrier is getting through that. Like you genuinely just have to do like the typical thing.
Yeah.
And back to your question for like the threads, it's not about how you write the thread; it's about what the thread says. And I've realized this actually like the last few weeks, really. Um, like I can't make a client special. Like no matter what I do, like I can write the coolest, but the best possible framework and the most proven templates. I can't make them special, so I can't make them money if they don't have a good product, and I can't make them money if they're not a successful person. So like which is why we turn away so many people. It's because like for us, we've been even working on like a process to verify that the person is who they say they are. Like if you're selling a course, and this goes back to me hating ghostwriters, right? Because every ghostwriter hits 10K a month, and then they sell a course on how to hit 10K a month. I hate that because I've been through so many shitty courses, and one of the good ones, for example, was you had like a low ticket program, right? Like low ticket program.
Right.
I joined it, but you had 10x the results that I was looking for, right? You had done 75K in a month on ghostwriting. I would have been happy with 7K. So I was like, that should be like that general rule of thumb. So for us to even accept somebody is like, if you're going to sell a course on ecom, you have to have created an e-commerce brand or store that has done tons of money. If you're going to promise people that you can get them to six figures, you better damn have gotten to seven figures, right? Like, I'm not working with anybody who gets to six figures and then teaches people six figures, right? Because they could have gotten lucky and they could be lying. Like, there's so many things. So, for the viral thread, the answer is that you have to actually have good results. And that's why, for me, if you go to my profile, like my threads now are just like us flexing results. And even my threads for my clients are just like a lot of times it's just flexing their story and like flexing results, even if it's going
I told you this on the call. Remember yesterday? I thought, and like, I told you guys, like, Marcus, don't take this personally, but like, this video you posted has like zero value and it's all flexing results. And you're like, yeah, that's the point. Like, this is why I did it. All right, can you disclose what the thread was and kind of what the video was so people can see and how much money it made? I think that's relevant.
Yeah. So you're talking about the video of
The
the
3 minute
100K,
case study.
the 100K case study. Yeah. So I did a 100K a month case study. It was for a client that did 100K a month. This was like early. This was like my first time a client hit 100K a month. So I instantly just wrote up like a 4 or 5 page document on how they hit 100K a month. I didn't give away like what you would think when you click it. The clickbait is that you think I'm giving you all the tactics and all the strategies and all of this stuff, but it's actually just a ploy to spam results and analytics and screenshots of spreadsheets and like all of the numbers because it's made for the ideal client. And what I've realized, especially as an agency owner, is when you post the kind of strategy stuff, the only people that are actually caring about the actual tactics are the people who are trying to beat you and copy you.
Right.
Your actual ideal client does not give a fuck about anything other than the result. So like that clicked with me.
Yeah, especially with you, like people don't have the time. One time I ran this 2 week challenge. I thought I was a genius for running it. It was just a complete failure. But it was a 2 week challenge in which I was gonna personally coach 20 people into closing their next client, right? And then it ended up me being on 9 calls, just hating every single minute of those calls. But during that, one thing came across. So a ghostwriter asked me, another ghostwriter, it's like, what do you think about the content? And I go over his content, and one of his most popular tweets, or one of the recent tweets, was, I'm so happy I finally made enough money to quit my job ghostwriting. I'm like, dude, don't post that. You can't do that. Like, imagine, what would a client feel, right? If you hire somebody and then that somebody posts, I just closed my first client. I'm so excited.
Right.
Like, fuck.
So bad. Like
yeah, give me a refund. I don't want that.
I've been tweeting this since like November, October. I was like, building public is so stupid. Like, I've never found something more stupid than building public and documenting your journey. And I get like the Gary Vee thing where it's like documenting.
What do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean?
I think it's so dumb. Like, if you're using social media as a client acquisition source, right? And that's the caveat, right? If you're not using social media to get clients, then so be it. Document your journey. I don't care. If you're using social media to get clients, don't document your journey. Don't build in public. Your social media is strictly to get clients, so you need to be tweeting and putting out content of what your clients would want to see, their pain points, dreams, fears, etc. The 4 quadrants or whatever.
Yeah.
You made me do it like a year ago. But people will be
like, for everybody's listening, it's like frustrations, and then you list the frustrations, and then play it out over a year. Those are their fears. And then you flip the frustrations, play it over a year, flip it, and that's the ones. Play it out over a year, and that's the dream outcome. So if you make content around those 4 things, it tends to hit really hard. But you can go on.
Yeah, it's like the whole build in public thing. It's like, I saw a guy like, oh, we just hit like 1K MRR, like just closed a client, like getting up, going to the gym, like great. But how is that going to get you clients, right? And like, do as I say, not as I do, right? Because I'm at the point now where like most of my clients come from referrals, so I get to do whatever the fuck I want, right? It's like at the time, and like when you're in the mixer for like the first 6 months in business, when you're using Twitter for like all of your clients, it's just like tweet what they want to see. And I've gotten better at this. I was doing a market research doc the other day, because I'm redoing my VSL, and he was telling me like I would say something like, for example, I was like, statistics that the online education industry is growing, right? Because I work with online education companies and gurus and course creators. He was like, well, why would they care? And I was like, good point. They don't. They already started the online education business. They don't care that the industry is growing.
Right.
That would just be for me to be like trying to like get an airhead and thinking like, oh my God,
It's
you know what I mean?
It's like the fitness coach that posts about how to improve the form of your deadlift. It's like, bro, your ideal prospect doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't care about the form of a deadlift. You
Right.
know,
Yes.
like he cares about
Exactly.
doing the thing, like
Yeah.
how to, I don't know,
Yeah.
goes
Unless
to
you're
the
like a
gym
power
or
lifter. Yeah. If you're a powerlifting coach, like a strength
that makes
coach for
sense.
like
Yeah,
professional athletes, then yes. But if you're trying to get like 25 to 35-year-old men that hate their 9 to 5 and are skinny fat, like they don't care about the form of the deadlift. They care about not being skinny fat. So you need to
that's
post
right.
things about, you just need to post either results or actionable advice that's going to get them in your DM just enough.
I have a story about this. I want to share this story.
Let's do
So,
it.
it's one about like learning to really understand your target market and speaking their language. John was in a call the other day, you know John, and he mentioned that a lot of his clients had this recurring thing. So he's like a sleep coach and like sleep, gut health, like health coach, and a lot of his clients had the same issue that they were waking up at between 1 and 3 a.m. And like for some reason, all of his clients had that. And then he tweeted about how if you're waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., it's because of these issues. And then right below, like the tweet got like 1,800 likes. It went crazy, right? And below he said like, if you have sleep issues, DM me sleep. And then he just flexed on everybody on the call. That was like right after yours. He just flexed at everybody, just like 70 inbound DMs from that one specific tweet to your pain point. Which, by the way, talking about how you wake up between 1 and 3 a.m., it got him more leads than giving them a whole list of value on how to sleep better. You know, so to me that was interesting. It's like people really want to feel more understood, right? Than learn things. They don't want info. They kind of want just like that little
Yeah.
emotional comfiness in order to like DM you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And like the biggest thing for me has been, especially for me, is like we put out a ton of volume. Like we're putting out, thousands of threads per quarter, right? So it's a ton of content.
How
So
many threads do you write? Like how many threads do you post for a client every month?
every day,
30. You write a thread a day for your clients?
every day,
Do
yes.
you juice every single one?
Every day is juiced. Every day. We're the best.
Yeah,
And
there you go. So,
that's not the only piece of content. It's multiple pieces of content per day. So
okay, so can you what's your content strategy? Can you disclose?
yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm the best.
3 to 4 posts per day. With one of those being some sort of thread or big piece. We retweet our own tweets and like we do kind of the whole shebang with automation. The
That's auto
concept.
DM.
Sorry, yeah, auto DM, but also like auto retweet, auto plug. Like we do all of the basic stuff. The caveat is there's a split, right? And this is what I was alluding to is that the pain points and the fears and the desires is great, but at some point you have to balance that with growth. And there's a secret sauce here. Like you can have, if you have 100 followers, right, and you are like a B2B, you need to get some followers. Like you need followers. It's like, guess what? You're just going to be talking to a wall. Like if you have 100 followers and you tweet, results, but you have only no followers, so you're not talking to anybody, and nobody follows you. So like you don't have a JK following you, you don't have a Marcos following you, because who follows you matters,
A
right?
lot.
A
Yeah.
lot. So like,
Yeah.
and this is like for me too. Like a lot of people don't understand. Like 500 followers with 100 of those being notables is huge. Is much better than having 5,000 followers with no notables. And I call them notables. It's like pretentious. It's just people who have a name in the industry because people just want. It's like having a blue check mark. It's like having 100 blue check marks, right? If I go to Jacob Molina's profile, it says 150 people follow him. It's like 150
Right.
verifications, right? It's like,
It's like if you go to a party and then it's like there's a really popular people and the people who hang out with them are like, oh yeah, of course they're cool, right? Of course they're cool too. If I like that guy, I'm probably gonna like this other guy. So that is like a really
yeah,
good follower magnet. Not, I really like the way you said it. By the way, it's what did you say? Like it was number of followers and who follows you. And I thought like, is he repeating himself? But it's like no, those are two concepts you were talking about right there.
yeah. And
Yeah.
this is like, yeah, and it's like a lot of this. it's weird because it's like sometimes you almost have to teach people how to network. And I'm not a networking expert. It's like kind of like a natural thing, right? Like,
That was always something that really caught my attention with you. It's like you were never needy, not when you were making no money, and not now when you are making real money. So, like, was that something that was always like kind of part of you? Was that something you did on purpose? How does that work?
interesting. It's like like something that's always been my kind of strong suit has been networking, and I've always networked the same way since I was 19. I would go to some sort of guru or mentor or some sort of higher end business person. Um, I would try to just give them value, join their program. Like something that people don't understand is like you can't just like DM somebody like JK, right? You can't just DM JK and be like, help me. But if you invest money, he's going to give you that attention. Then it's like, okay, now you have to go all in, which is exactly what I do. I've done multiple times in my career. One of
So
them,
you mentioned like give value. How?
right? So like, for example, like one way I did this a lot when before JK really knew me is like I would be in his group that I knew his little group needed engagement. I knew he would appreciate that group being active and somebody in that group creating value because and I'm sure you know this, right? Like having a low ticket or a free group is a lot of work.
I hate it.
You
I shut
hated
mine
it.
down. I
So
hate
like
it.
for me, what I figured is, hey, like I know he needs engagement in this group. Like it's a bit dead right now. I'm just going to be the most active person. So I went in your low ticket group like a year ago and I created engagement groups on the side. I went to all the calls and tried to be active because another thing that I know is a pain point for you at the time was you have Zoom calls with 15 people and no one's talking. And it's just you have to make things up to say, right?
Right.
So I was like, let me ask questions so that he can feel like he can have someone to talk to. And then we would just like talk back and forth while everyone listened, right? And that's how I kind of swindled
Oh,
my
that's
way.
smart.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you like how I got my first retweet from a big account ever on Twitter?
No, how did
That
you?
was the day I fell in love with Twitter. I had 200 followers in a day when I had like 500 followers total. That was the day I fell in love. So here's how I did it. So there's this guy called Chris Johnson on Twitter, Well Squad, right? Huge guy, making a lot of money. And at the time, I was just kind of getting started on Twitter, and I noticed I noticed that he was like a big shot. So I went to Fiverr. I downloaded a picture of him. I did it, sent it to a Fiverr editor. That editor edited it for like $15, right? Came back to me and I said, "Yo, Chris, I just got this signed on for you. Thank you for all the value you've been putting out. I really appreciate it. By the way, here's my Twitter if you ever want to chat." And I had my thread, right, like my pin thread, and he retweeted it. And at the time, I was like, "Oh my god!" The guy had like 70K followers. I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, we moving, right? We rock it. But then I kind of did the beginner thing, and like I started, like I assumed because some person gave me one tip, they were gonna give me 1,000 tips, or like they gave me 1 unit of value. I wanted to get 10,000 units of value because who knows where I'm gonna get it again. So he started retweeting a bunch of my posts often. Now, the smart thing there to do was be like, "Hey, thank you so much," and just like, keep doing my thing. But to me, I always thought that retweet was gonna be the last. I had that scarcity thing, so I always plugged in my offer below every single time he retweeted it, and I kind of annoyed him. So like after three retweets or something, he just stopped doing it, and then just stopped engaging with my stuff because like I had one shot. I should have just taken one thing and not take the rest. But I tried to take as much as I could because I didn't know when I was gonna get more again.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of scarcity at the beginning. That reminds me like once when I bought Danco's course, like when I first started. This was when Danco was tiny. Now he's like the sensation.
This is a web design course?
No, this was the 2 hour writer course when it before it was
Oh.
like the day it came out. It came out like the day it dropped. I bought it. And then I DM'd him. He had like his thing where like DM me. He was like reviewing it, but this doesn't work as much anymore. But at the time, it would still kind of work. This is like a good recommendation for up and comers. Is like I wrote a thread, basically a testimonial. I was like, this course is great, like all sorts of things. Like I bought this course and this is what I learned. Like he gave me a retweet and I gained like 100 followers, and I was just like, these are just like this is like you can like I don't know how to explain it. Like, you just gotta swindle your way sometimes, right? Like, you just gotta
Yeah,
be
just
smart
gotta
about
yeah,
it.
you gotta sweet talk people into loving you like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what you
yeah.
say,
I still do this to
dude.
this day at a higher level. Like, I guest spoken in Dakota's cohort, and now me and Dakota are like homies. Like, we'll just like spitball. It's like you
Yeah,
just
no,
have to give.
that's smart. No,
Yeah.
that is actually what you do, bro. Like Dan Coe, by the way, like you're talking about this on this podcast, and like you can't talk to a JK like that. Like I'm a popular or whatever, dude. Like I've been on podcasts and people introduce me as Dan Coe's friend. Dude, fuck off.
That's funny.
Like, oh, he's JK. By the way, he lived with Dan Coe. It's like, oh my god, you live with Dan? Like that guy's just he is good. You know what? Like about Dan Coe, people would ask me like, what's he like after I lived with him for a month? Like, what's Dan Coe like? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what Dan Coe's like. Because all he did was this is what Dan Coe did. Like all the entire time we were in Austin. So he would wake up, pop us in, go to the cafe, work, train, walk, train, work, train, work, train, come back, sleep. That's all he did. Like that was
That's
all the
awesome.
routine. Never talked to us, never did anything. But the level of like work ethic you can see from that guy, it's like obsessive. Like that's all he thinks about, dude. Like you couldn't get him to speak about many things. That was very curious. So like no interest in small talk, no interest in like talking about what's going on. But every month or so, he would have the theme of the month. While I was living with him, the theme of the month was seed oils, and like you could talk about Twitter. He doesn't give a shit. But you're like, yo, Dan. By the way, what do you think about seed oils? He just rant for like 30 minutes straight about seed oils, like
Right.
very intense and like niche topic. That's what caught my attention from Dan Coe's friend for everybody listening.
I considered you guys when I was coming up. I considered you guys the big three, you, Danco, and Dakota, and I've pretty much taken different things from all three of you and kind of implemented it and just created my own sauce out of it. But like, I've consumed all your content. That you guys did actually a roundtable podcast on YouTube way back.
Okay.
I listened to that hardcore for like at least twice when I was first starting because there's just like a lot. It was like it's almost like seeing like professional athletes like while they're in high school, right? So this was
Yeah.
you guys were all up and none of you guys really had any businesses yet. It was more so just you had followings and you guys maybe like you had a couple of low ticket programs here and there. Like couldn't
Right.
have been making too much. But it was interesting to hear you guys' mindset back then. I would love to give that a listen again, and I recommend people listen to it because you can see kind of a year ago how much can happen. You know what
It's
I mean?
unlisted. We
Oh, it
didn't.
is?
Yeah, we Dan unlisted that one. I think it's in Modern Mastery, but it was because we talk a lot of retweets. We do talk a lot of retweets, so it's like those are like sensitive topics. But now it's like, I mean, you can watch it, but I do like Dan has the permission. So if you want to watch it, you have to ask Dan or join Modern Mastery to watch it.
Oh, that's good though. That's even better. Like I love paid communities and I love paid courses. Like I'm the opposite of everybody else. I love like guru courses and shit. Like that shit is awesome and that shit changed my life. So like, fucking charge for it if it's valuable. I know because I listen to it.
What are the best?
The best courses?
Yeah.
There's so many.
What were some that you were like, or like what comes to mind and you're like, this one's good.
In what niche?
Let's do like let's do things related to Twitter. So probably like coaching services, NGCs.
Well, of course, tweets and client ascension are the big two. Um, and the reason I like this model, and I don't know anything about like Wiz of Ecom, but I imagine
I don't know if we two are courses though. We're programs.
yeah programs, but yeah that's fair. That's fair. You're talking more
Or like were you referring to programs in general? Maybe I
I
just
like
don't get it.
I don't hold them differently. Like I look at them as all in the same bucket. I look at programs like Tweets and Clients and Client Ascension. I look at them like universities. Like you leave with something. You know, it's not a degree, but it's a business, right?
Right.
So I look at those as universities. But like the DIY courses, I would love. Yeah, let's focus on those. I really like Justin Welch's. course is really good. The
That's
150.
LinkedIn, right?
No, the other one, the Content OS.
Oh, okay.
That one is solid. Um, I mean, I really like his templates more than anything. He has like these like tweet templates, and I use them for my.
Oh, can we talk about templates and about like you need to be cringe sometimes? The one we talked
Oh
about on
yeah,
Monday. Oh, we did
I'm
talk
big on
about it.
I so like something I did coming up is like I thought I was so fucking edgy and cool that I can be successful. I could be different though. I could be different. Like I don't want to be like everybody else. Like I thought I had such an ego, and then
Positioning.
eventually when I was like I'm just gonna play the game. I'm just gonna play the game by the rules, right? It's like you can't play basketball and try to sprint down the court and dunk, right? Like you got to dribble. So like for me, I was like, I'm just gonna play the game eventually.
Can
And
you give the example you gave at the call?
what was the example? I'm sorry. What was it?
It was about like you using an auto DM with a hook with a template and
Oh
without a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
template.
So I
Yeah,
did an
remember?
auto DM, and you guys can look it up. It was in the hook was no cringe hook. I was like, I'm gonna do something different and see it. I'm gonna split test it. I'm like, no cringe hook, just reply and you'll get access to this video, and it totally flopped. And what that showed me was that there are proven templates for like auto DMs that will go viral and that will get you consistent results, 500 to 1,000 likes. Um, Stop trying to be edgy and being like, oh my, like I see this all the time, especially from like the sales bros in this industry who are actually so cringe. But like they're like, oh, like auto DM so cringe. Like, do I grew without stupid giveaways? Like this goes. I could go on forever about this. Like people, there's also people who are like, it's all organic. I grew with organic only and no paid. I'm like, did you make more money from it? Like you're gonna get paid the same if you pay for the traffic or get the
Yeah.
organic traffic. Like nobody says like you don't say that. Like in a higher level, nobody cares how you got there. Do play the game by the rules. Like I see too many people on Twitter right now, like trying to be edgy and trying to go against the grain. They want to do things differently. Like I don't even care about followers because as long as I'm not cringe, I'm like, bro, like you know it's not cringe.
Why do
It's
you
like,
check notifications?
sorry.
Like, why do you check notifications? Why do
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
why do you know how many followers you have?
yeah.
But like about being cringe and not cringe, but like having the templates. We're not in good terms right now. But this guy David said one of the wisest things I've ever heard about marketing ever. Like he said, uh, write the best content ever on Twitter and use the dirtiest techniques to sell it. And I thought that was a pretty good approach, as in like writing the baitiest thread hooks, right? But like making your thing excellent.
Yes.
If you look at Hormozy's stuff, right? Like his videos, bro, like and specifically I enjoy 2021 Hormozy personally. I think those videos are like the best ever.
The more
But like
technical stuff before he went
exactly,
broad. Yeah, he had to go
exactly.
broad eventually.
And but like his thumbnails are pretty clickbaity. Like if you don't know anything about Alex and you only see the thumbnails from that, it's like, is this just like another like car guru, right? Another Lambo guru? But then,
Right.
right? It's like they get you really attracted with like the quote unquote like like baity techniques, but they show you the best things ever. And I feel like that's a pretty good philosophy. It's
I like
counterintuitive,
that.
but it's good.
I like
You
that. I
like,
feel like we
yeah,
kind
it's
of
good.
live. I kind of yeah no I like that a lot. I was about to write it down, but I'm just like I feel like we kind of live by that. Like we go like for everyone. Like we're very cringe with our hooks and with our it's very baity. Like we are optimizing for engagement at all times. But the caveat is that all of our clients have killer products, right? Killer products. So I'm okay
That's
with
right.
that, right? Like, and you know, a lot of people. I have a really good friend. I told you about him, right? His name's Don. He's pretty big on YouTube, and he has a course, right? He never plugs it ever, never, ever, ever plugs his course. I have to go into. He has a live stream on YouTube where he gets like 2,000 concurrent viewers. Which, if you don't know anything about the business world, that's a fuck ton. That's probably like the most in the industry. Um, I go in there and I'll just like spam the link to his course. I'm like, promote it. Like, you have a moral responsibility to sell your course if you have a good course. If your course does not suck, because the industry is filled with shitty courses. So if you have a good one and you're not selling it, you're doing more harm by not marketing it they think they're doing harm by marketing. Like, I don't want to force people to buy. I don't want to be cringe. I don't want to be a marketer. But if your product is good for people, then it's inherently good for the world. So you have a moral, ethical responsibility to sell your fucking course.
Oh, 100%. I need to talk about this with you. I need to talk about this. So I really battled with this concept, as in, like, you never have to ask anything to your audience. Like, you can't ask, you have to delay it as much as possible. I really battled with that. And I found an example that really calmed it for me. So the gist of it is, the longer you delay the ask, the bigger the ask can be, right? So, like, if you don't ask anything, then you can ask something huge. And every time you ask, you decrease that goodwill. That's kind of the thing. But then I thought, how did Andrew Tate grow? Like, if you've been following Andrew Tate for like 5 years,
I dissected it, yeah.
Promoting. It was just Hustlers University, join.
Right.
Still one of the biggest brands ever. So
I
feel
have. Oh yeah, keep going. I'll say it after.
Oh, you're in HU?
I am saying HU is the greatest product in fucking internet course history.
Well, there you go. So it's like
amazing.
Like, selling doesn't hurt your brand. Selling something shitty hurts your brand.
Right. Like, you don't see the billionaires, Elon, Jeff, any of these guys delaying their ask, right? They just built the product as good as possible, and they just focus on product every single day of the week while still doing the marketing. You know what I mean? You can relate that. Like, you never had Elon, I'm building Tesla, but don't buy it. Like, I'm just going to keep creating content about Tesla. Like, he never did that. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with Amazon, same thing with Facebook. Like, straight up, as soon as the minimum viable product is done, out to market. Boom, market. Because they know their product can help people, right? And, like, my thing with Andrew Tate is, like, sure, some of his marketing might be quote-unquote unethical, but that product is fucking killer. 97, I think it's more now, 150. $97 a month, you get access to, like, 50 courses of like, intro level, like 100 and 200 level information that can genuinely make you your first few $1,000s online. Like, if I had that when I was that age at 19, I would have saved so much money, because I was in the military and I would save up money, and I remember splitting a $500 Forex course with my roommate in training, and it was $500 for one course on one subject. We have no idea if we were going to even suited for trading, right? Like, everyone has a different personality type, and let me tell you, not everybody is good for everything. You need your business to align with who you are. And, like, I don't align with, for example, day trading. I spent $500 on that course. If I had spent $150 a month on HU, I would have had 3 months to figure out what was good for me. You know what I mean? Like, HU is sick. Like, sick.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, it's good to know. It's good to know that it's Marcus endorsed.
Yeah.
One time when I was in Miami, and the cool thing about Twitter is you could hang out with people like so ahead of you, which was super cool. So I met up with this guy in Miami. We had dinner, and the guy has sold like 100 mil online. And I've always been struggling with this idea that doing like outbound hurts the brand. And I always had that, like, I don't want to send DMs, right? It's like, maybe one day it's all going to be inbound. And I asked him, because, he runs a pretty big business. Well, do you think outbound hurts the brand? And he just stops at me. He just stops and he looks at me and he goes, bro, do you have any idea how Salesforce grew? I'm like, no, bro. The guys will buy all the taxis at events and the cities that their competition were holding events in. They would buy all the taxi drivers. They would trade them on the Salesforce product. And on the way from the airport to the hotel, these taxi people would promote Salesforce. Fuck your thing. Like, it doesn't hurt the brand. You can just sell your thing if it's good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that put it at ease for me. I was like, oh, I'm good. It's cool.
This is something I've just recently started to think about. Like, I haven't done cold DM in like 6 months. But I started to realize because I've been taking LinkedIn a bit more serious, most of these 8 and 9 figure corporations are doing outbound cold outbound still to this day. It's because it's proven, right? It's proven.
Yeah.
So, like, why do we have this ego? And I got this from Twitter. I've been ingrained in Twitter, so, like, I feel like I learned it from Twitter somehow, but it might just be me. I stopped
And
doing
you feel like
cold.
you're above
I'm
sending
above
DMs?
cold, right? Like I'm above
Right.
cold DM. Like I'm all inbound. Like I'm above cold. I'm like, but all of the best, even billion-dollar corporations advertise. Billions and billions. Like the biggest companies in the Fortune 500 advertise. So who am I to be like, I'm referral and inbound only?
Yeah.
Who the fuck am I?
Exactly.
Like, who the fuck am I?
People go like, doing outbound hurts the brand. Dude, you have no fucking brand. Like,
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
yeah.
No. All right. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. I want to know why you hate ghostwriters. Why are you trying to
What?
kill my business?
You're, when you're good, they can't kill you.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about
I'm
this.
interested.
Yeah.
What did you mean? Because you started some drama on Twitter.
Oh, it
Saying,
was just, yeah, it was fun. It
let's
was
open. I
fun.
want to open that can of worms. You said something like, "Don't hire a ghostwriter," and the caveat here is that you were used to be a ghostwriter, right? That's kind of how you started. So I'm
That's right.
interested to
That's
see what your thought process was with that tweet and what it is to this day, because you still believe it, obviously, right? So what
yeah.
is
I
your
don't
thought
think.
process there?
Yeah, I don't think I should hire a ghostwriter. And I got so much hate for this. And it's like, I recorded a YouTube video on it. I wrote a thread on it. And like every day I have like my button over and my finger over it. I'm like, I want to post this. I want to post this.
Post it after
But
the podcast drops so that there's context.
yeah, maybe I should. Yeah. Cause it'll be like cringe if I post it and then this podcast drops. It's like, bro, you already posted it.
Yeah,
Shut up.
yeah,
Yeah. But my reasoning behind it is kind of because I've seen what I did, and I thought that wasn't like the best thing I could have done for these guys as brands. So as a ghostwriter, you're gonna write for people ahead of you, right? It's like you will write for people that are making more money than you. They're ahead in some way than you. So let me tell you what I did when I was a ghostwriter, and I've seen that this tends to be the case with a lot of ghostwriters, but this is what I did, my own thing. So I used to take what they told me. We got on a call. They told me about their business. We did some research. Like I got the articles and the screenshots. And then I used to take cool templates, package what they told me in those templates, and retweet the shit out of it. And then they grew, right? So I was like, back in the day, you didn't need to have like specific like weird angles to get ghostwriting clients. You just had to be a ghostwriter because there weren't any, right? Nobody did it.
right.
So that's what I did. And to be honest, like, you gotta get retweets, right, for those things, because it's not true that you're just gonna grow just like that. And to me, like, the people I got my retweets from, they couldn't monetize their account. So like, why would you funnel those if they don't have any money? So that was one. And two is the people I wanted to buy retweets from, they didn't sell because they knew that their brand was worth more than selling a retweet, right? So it didn't make sense. So like I don't sell retweets. The most reputable people I know don't sell retweets. So I'm like, why, right? Two is, and I actually got this thing from the same guy I met in Miami. He's like, I feel like people on Twitter are like so much more skeptical. Like all these guys, like they know that you're using a ghostwriter. Like they understand the game. They see your content and it's like they see all the templates. They see the same thing you're using. It's like, oh, of course you're using a ghostwriter. And the way you can tell, it's not so much in the templates, but the perspective that's used. Me, back then, I was making maybe 6 figures, right? And I was writing for my clients that were making 8 figures. So whatever lessons they gave me, I was limited to turning their 8-figure lessons and telling it through a 6-figure lens, right? So I was always gonna like dilute the message. I was always gonna cheapen the message. And I feel like other 8-figure guys saw that, right? So that's another reason, and that kind of lowered, because when somebody has a ghostwriter, you're like, he has a ghostwriter. It's like, what if I told you like your favorite author, they didn't write the book? Fuck, you kind of get disappointed, right?
Right.
And the last one, I feel, and I have these structured because I already wrote the thread, right? It's
Yeah,
not like I've
you're
like,
like a 3-part thread.
yeah. And then I'm gonna give you a conclusion. I'm gonna
This
ask you to
sounds so-
retweet it.
Yeah, this sounds so rehearsed.
Yeah, because I already wrote it, you know. But yeah. So the last one is because I feel like you just simply do not need to. If you gotta make the main thing, right? So you're on Twitter to like build your brand, right? Which will open it up to other interesting business opportunities. Because if you can afford the ghostwriter, you probably don't need the money from Twitter, right? You're in it because you want to maximize what you're already doing. So I don't think you need a ghostwriter for that. I think that the main thing you can do is just tell your story because you've already done cool shit. And like Marcus said, talk to other heavy hitters because winners give back, right? So if you help other heavy hitters that already have a following, what you give them in information, they will give you back in exposure and introducing you to other networks, right? But like they wouldn't be comfortable introducing you to other networks if you want to cheapen your brand, your 8-figure lessons by giving it to a 6-figure guy. So to me, it didn't make sense because that's what I did. And I was upfront with the guy. I was like, you know who's retweeting you, right? He's like, yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm like, okay, but today I just don't think that it is a good idea if you don't need the money from Twitter, tweet yourself. Like people want to hear that thing. They don't want to hear your story told by a lens that is inferior to yours.
I totally agree. Don't hire a ghostwriter. And that's why
Hire Marcos instead.
yeah, no.
I want to give you a shot. No, I want to give you a shot because I wasn't fair with you. So,
I think
I want to be fair with you, but like, what's your process? Because there's got to be something here. There's got to be some things that you're like, that was kind of true, but not really. So
well, like,
let's talk about
it's
that.
It's interesting. So I think you're spot on. And I think what's the caveat is that you are talking to an individual, whereas for me, I write for businesses, right? I don't write for just individuals. It's not like I'm writing for a founder. I'm writing for their business, right? We're optimized for sales. We're optimized for conversion because the people that I'm writing for are focused on product. They're focused all on product, and this is what kind of my message and mission has been, is just focusing all in on product and just using marketing as a tool to get the product out there. It's almost like an e-com brand. Like I consider it a lot like e-com. Like we're selling a thing, like a physical thing. And the marketing on Twitter is just to sell that thing. Simple. Like we said before, as clickbaity as possible because we're okay with that because the products are so good. So just because it's like it's some sort of coach as the face, we're not selling the coach, right? We're selling the program.
Right.
This is why I don't work with like one-on-one coaches ever. I don't work with anyone that does one-on-one because one-on-one is capped. I can't make a lot of money. And two, it's like then it's a founder. You're selling a person, whereas we're not selling people. We're selling results. So that's the caveat. Whereas what you were saying is like telling your story, growing as a person, building your network. And it's funny because when I first learned ghostwriting, that's what you were showing me. It's like
Right.
the selling point on the call, the pain point that we were writing for is we were telling these founders that you're going to have an audience that you can monetize at any time. You're going to build a network. You're going to build a brand around your story. I don't do any of that. I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, you don't share analytics on Twitter. You don't share growth analytics.
Yeah,
you share
like my
screenshots of
Yeah,
payments.
exactly. Screenshots because my clients really care about sales and they care about getting more people in the door for their product because the way that the people that we write for can make the most impact on the world from a more sentimental standpoint is just by giving their course to more people so they can affect more people. People that buy their program, they are changing their lives, right? Like if I give you a business opportunity that helps you quit your 9-to-5, all I really care about is getting as many of those people as possible because that's what's going to fulfill me. So for my job is to help these people get their fulfillment by filling up their programs. So they're not sitting there.
Well, how do you do that? Like tactically, how do you sell?
Yeah, it's like so it goes down in the DMs. That's one thing. It really does, and that's why we've really turned into like almost like a full stack. Content is like front end, but back end is a lot of sales processes, SOPs, scripts, and stuff like that. Just escalating. You really want to escalate people to sales calls because that's where you can. And I forget who told me this. I don't know if it was you or Ben, but someone said everything's expensive without context.
Oh, that's Ben.
Was that Ben? So one
Yeah,
of the
that was
greatest.
Ben when we asked him about how do you disclose price on the DMs, or like how
Right,
do you close somebody over email, and he's like, you don't, because you
right,
lack
right,
context.
right, exactly. And I was on a it's funny. I had a consulting call this morning, and I said the exact same thing. So it's the best sales advice I've ever gotten. I'm not a salesperson. Like my sales calls are just like this, like just me spitting game to the point where they're like so convinced by the mission that they're like, yeah, sure, like obviously I'm gonna work with you. I don't.
I'm so different to you, man.
I
Oh
used to be. I
God.
used to be. I cringe at the scripts, man. It's funny. I just hired someone for my website, and he was like following a script, and I'm like falling asleep. I'm like, he's like, "Are you the?" I forget now. You didn't say, "Are you the sole decision maker?" He said like something about like my pain point or something. I was just like, come on, man. Like, just I just want to give you my money. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm so over it at this point. But to be fair, it's like when you're when you're on the agency side and you're really in the fulfillment, it's like you see so much of it. It's like at some point you just want to be different. But no, when I first started, like I was heavy on the closer method, and I used to push it. Like on our first interview, you'll hear me talk about the closer method.
What's the closer method?
So the closer method, I learned it from Hormozy. It is it's a what's the word for it? Abbreviation. Um, so CLOSER, and it's what is the C? Clarify why they're there. So like, hey, um, what made you schedule a call? And I still kind of follow these sometimes. Like I don't follow the whole thing, but it's kind of ingrained in my brain. Just like this is what I'm going to do when I get on a sales call. A lot of times it goes like straight to like O. So L would be label their problem. Oh, you scheduled a call because you need Twitter growth. Okay. So you clearly have a problem with Twitter growth. I see you only have 500 problems. Like, tell me what's going on. What is the O? Do you remember?
I didn't follow that framework, but it is a video that, like, you can look it up.
Yeah,
It's
Google
Hormozy
Closer. I'm
Closer.
not giving you sales
Yeah.
training right now.
I'm not Alex.
Yeah. Go
Yeah.
to Alex. That's his job. Buy his book.
Yeah.
The fuck.
Yeah.
This is this will be a good podcast. I love podcasts, by the way.
It's fun, and I got better. I learned the power of it through my first million, man. Like I own a lot to that random Texas trip that I took to. I would recorded the Danny Miranda podcast, but I also went to watch the My First Million podcast live, bro. Like one day before they did the podcast at the same venue, they held a Japanese pop concert.
That's
And
fire.
then the next day, it's like fire, right? It's like we're both anime fans. It's like, yeah, we know the
Yeah.
Naruto opening 16 by heart. But it's like the next day, they hosted the My First Million podcast. And three dudes sitting down talking about business equal the Japanese pub concert attendance. And the difference is this guy's had a podcast and they made something I really like it, which is he said that when you're in people's ears, specifically like the headphones, it's like you're spending time with them. So I kind of changed my approaches to podcasts a little bit. Now it's like I try to be more personal. And you told me this with the Client Ascension podcast, the Andrew Heikel podcast. You're like, I like the JK lore. It's like you opening it up, right? And then I went to the Danny Miranda, and dude almost made me fucking cry
Did that
on the
drop already?
podcast. Yeah, it did.
It
Yeah.
did. I gotta take a listen tomorrow.
Dude, he would ask me, should like, I would tell him like, yeah, it's because like, like I wanted to get better because my dad, it was never like enough for him. And he's like, yeah, but like, really, why? Where does your insecurity come from? I'm like, holy shit, bro. Can you just ask me about Twitter threads or something?
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking me these things? But I like this Shan Puri quote again from My First Million. It's like, when you create content, like the goal isn't to be well known, it's to be known well. And I feel like you do that very well as well.
Yeah. Well, it is with you too. I feel like since to talk a little bit about like Myers-Briggs, is you're a rare personality type, and it's funny. Like two of my closest business friends, you and my friend Don, are both ISTPs, and it's a rare personality type that I've realized is a very specific kind of person. But you're very far away from anything that has to do with feelings, emotion, or intuition, and everything is strategic, and it's very hard. Like it's very straightforward for everything. So I have to listen to that podcast, but I imagine he pulled you very far out of your comfort zone.
Bro, I was sweating. I was sweating on the podcast. I hated it. Dude, I wanted to take my hat off. I was sweating. And like the thing about ISTPs, I've been going hard on this, dude. Like equivalent of like astrology. I'm full on.
So
man.
am I. I'm on the
full
train. I'm on the train.
Let's go.
Bad.
Yeah. Like the thing about ISTPs is that like it's really hard to talk about your feelings because you don't know them so much. Like you're not just because like ISTPs are very like just one things that are effective, right? So it's like knowing your feelings is not effective. So why would you like care about it? Let's just do the thing, right? So when people ask you about your feelings, it's hard because you're not really in touch with them. But you also value spontaneity, right? So it's like when they put you in like weird situations, you love that. Because like coming up with ideas on the spot is what gives you pleasure. So like if you go on a trip, planning the trip doesn't give you as much pleasure as being on the station and being like, oh, let's go there. Right? That's what gives you, yeah. So that's the thing for me that as an ISTP. But like, what are you again?
INFP.
Okay, so what is that?
So that's it's intuitive feeling. It's like William Shakespeare, more mediator. It's very much like it's like an emotional character. It's funny because they say INFPs are very, very prone to becoming writers, which is interesting. And I took I took the test after I became a writer. By the way, I didn't take the test and like, I need to be a writer. Actually, I found out after. I'm like, oh, that's interesting that I ended up becoming a writer. But my problem is that I'm the opposite of being tactical and strategic. I'm very spontaneous with everything and very like I live off intuition. I struggle to have a plan. I haven't held a planner my whole career. I've never had a to-do list. Like I don't work with to-do lists. You write everything. Like I have my notebook.
I have it right here as if we talk. I'm like, oh,
I have a notebook, but it just has stickers on it, so I don't actually like. I just get stickers from restaurants and I put it on there and I bring it around with me. And like I'll write stuff in here, and I've never reread anything I've ever written. Like I'll just write it. Like it's funny. Speaking of Andre, like he has this like productivity thing he does in his notebook, and he showed me, or he had a course on it, and I took it and I did it for one day. I crossed out nothing from my to-do list and I never did it again.
Oh god, you want to see like the level of like, I just want to like squeeze the juice out of everything I do. Like check. This is like obsessive, but it's just like weird thing I do. So like, I write like this, and it's like. It's important for the spiral to be on the left side, right? Because I write with my right hand. So it's important to be on the left side. So if I want to write on the other side, it's a problem because the spiral is on the right side.
You have your thing flipping?
I do like this, and then I
Holy
flip it like
sociopath.
this. Yeah, because it's important for it to be on the left, because if not, it's annoying. It's not useful.
I'm gonna have to tweet that one because that is insane. That's insane. Like that's like those you ever had in school where they would print out an assignment and you would finish and you go and turn the page and then the other side would be upside down. You're like, who the fuck does this? Like that's you.
I'm that kid.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
You're like milk before cereal. Ugh. That's nasty.
No, I'm not that much of a savage. Okay, we're gonna cut it too. But I thought this was a great first episode. What do you think?
I think I have one more question before we cut it.
Oh fuck! Okay, hit me.
You're one of the few who came out of the third world and became successful, but you're notorious for not liking your own people. Tell me why, as a third worlder who forced himself to learn English and become pretty much have no accent, why you don't like the state of the third world on Twitter, because that they interact a lot with your posts and you are someone who made it out of the third world. I'm interested why or what your feeling is towards them.
Because if you say you have no money, it's like you're just fucking lazy. Sorry. Like I was like that.
Right.
Like I was there, right? Like on Fiverr one time, bro. Remember those logos I told you about earlier? Those logos, they charge you a $2 fee for just using Fiverr. I was disputing that $2 fee. I had that mindset. I was there, and you laugh now, but it was really serious back then. Yeah. But like, I just wanted to like, I know that is like a thing that a lot of third worlders have, me included, right? I had that, and it's just so annoying to deal with. Just that it's not like, yeah, it's broke because you don't have no money, but it's like the worst thing is like it's just kind of a mindset. It's just a
Right.
broke
You don't like when
mindset.
people
It's
want
just
handouts.
that's right. That's right. I just don't like it, and I feel like if I give, I'm gonna talk to me in the past, right? Because I wanna be careful with this. But it's like if I talk to me in the past, 1 unit of value, I know me in the past is gonna try to take 100 units of value. So I'm like, I'm just not gonna give you anything, because it's like winners give back, losers take all. That's good.
That's
So
good.
like losers will try to take everything, right?
Right.
But like that's why I don't give them anything. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no, fuck it, because I know how I used to be, and
You know it won't
it
do them
just
any good.
uh,
It wouldn't.
yeah, and it's just like if you have a pool of circle A, right, pool A, and then pool B, and all your money is coming from pool A, but all of your attention draining is coming from pool B. Don't fucking focus on pool B. Focus on pool A. So to me, it's more of it's a very objective decision. Like I've never had that much of a big issue with it, so like I'm rolling with it, and I'm also one of the few people who can actually attest to that. So
That's
there
why
you
I
go.
asked you because I'm never gonna be able to. I can't say anything. I'm gonna get
I had a
canceled.
podcast. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I can talk about this. I'm gonna need to ask him for permission. But I have another cool story for this on the second podcast, which is also the cliffhanger. Subscribe to Lex and Cash podcast if you want to keep listening to the next things.
For part two.
That's right, Marcos. Yeah, so you can go to. We're gonna record a few episodes with Marcos. So like, go. It's Marcos Ruiz on Twitter. Great guy. You're gonna see me interacting with him a lot, and hopefully you enjoyed the Likes and Cash podcast. Do you have anything to say before we quit?
That was fun. It went by really fast. We could totally get a couple more of those in already.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one. We talked about a lot of tactics, like
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
I enjoy, and yeah, we went to like it was like zero zoom out. It was all zoom
We're
in,
both in a
which I
season.
enjoyed.
We're both in a season of like product, so I think we're like just in the mindset of tactics. So like we can give so much value right now.
Yeah. Oh, bro, you have to leave now, don't you?
I don't have an 8.
Oh, can we go for like 5 more
I
minutes?
could literally go for another 45 minutes if you need me to.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about one thing that I realized. Like, I was listening again. Like, bro, I'm gonna name drop so hard on this because I'm just listening to these guys' podcast and I love it. Shan Poirier from My First Million. So
Nice.
yeah, like
They should have you on.
I was. Oh, bro, I DM'd him and he hit me with the "I'll let you know." And I'm like,
He's playing hard to get.
yeah.
You guys better take it before it's too late.
No, bro, that's cool. No, I don't think he's playing hard to get. I think he just friend zoned me.
That's
Like, if I'm being honest, yeah.
You're
But,
much better than
okay,
half
so-
of the people that have been on that podcast. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, man, dude. Those so heavy hitters. Like those are.
Think so?
I don't know. No, I think that's actually false. I don't think that's true. I think those guys are like.
Maybe I
they
just
have
don't
some
know them.
Really heavy hitters. You should watch it. It's really good. But okay. Anyway, so he said something about when he invested in a company or something, and he's like, I'm so amazed at how little people make the main thing the main thing. And like I paused it and I was like, what is the main thing? Right? Like for me, like what is the main thing? Is
Yeah.
it lead flow? Is it sales? Is it content? And really thinking about it, man, I was sleep deprived when the answer arrived to me, as it often does when I'm sleep deprived. And it's like, it's product. The main thing is product. Because, and like, let's walk through it. So, right, content. Where does the best content come from? Your best content, your best case study came from your product, your service, doing the thing.
Right.
It was a case study, right? Lead flow. Where does the best lead flow come from? It's from you accomplishing an amazing product, sharing case studies, and then from your product, the clients are going to talk to others and they're going to become your leads.
Right.
Therefore, lead flow.
This is like
Okay.
Hormozy said
Like-
something like that. He was like, he said that imagine you just got 10 clients a month, but every month you just retained all 10 clients. Your business would be insane in a year. Like you'd be multi-millions per month.
Right. It's like, so content comes from product. Lead flow comes from product. Sales come from having a good product because then The testimonials that are selling for you. Reputation comes from having a good product. Like all these guys we're talking about in this podcast, Andrew Tate, right? And you were like Shan, Sam, Alex, they already had a product before they became celebrities and they had the reputation, right? So it's like, it's product. So like the main thing, I used to wake up, the first thing I did, write content. And got a lot of likes, not much cash. Because likes are cool, but likes and cash. So then I started focusing on product and lead flow, credibility, authority, sales started to go up. So now I change it up. First thing I do when I wake up, I work on my product. And content is like a fraction of the time that it takes me to improve my product. That is the content, and that's what's shared. But people relate more to that because they can see that it comes from a place of doing, not from thinking about doing. So product is the main thing.
Yeah, and if you want to have more time to focus on your product, hire the birdhouse.
Oh, there you go. That's my thing.
Is that bad, right?
You had to do it. I mean, you have to, man. If you're gonna be here, take your shot. If your thing's good,
Right?
take a shot.
It's funny because I came to you about a week ago or so, just like giving you so many product ideas because I've been in your product, right? I've been in Tweets and Clients for for 6 months. I've just been giving you like every time I think of something like you got like this could be a thing, this could be a thing, like this could be a thing, because I see the potential, and I've on the same season as you. I'm just like all in on product. I didn't even write a thread last month. I didn't even write a thread last month for myself. Like you go to my page, like the one thread I was like I had to just get something out is I had finished Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and I just wrote like some of the Readwise quotes that I had on my Kindle. But that whole book just told me like product is everything.
Right.
That only reason that grew, his company Nike ever grew, is because they had the shoes that were the best, right? And their product grew by Olympians wearing their shoes, and then track athletes wearing their shoes, and the basketball players wearing their shoes because they're good shoes. So product is king, and Jeff Bezos famously says like advertising is the price you pay for bad product or something like that.
I like it. Naval says you do marketing because you feel the product. I don't know if I agree completely, but that's what it says.
Well, this is the thing is like I don't agree, but I understand the message.
Right, exactly. I understand where it comes from.
Right.
I would say.
Like
You know Whoop?
no.
Whoop is like this wearable that tells you like it's like an Apple Watch, but it's a wearable, right? So it's supposed to like track your sleep and your steps and stuff. So what they did to promote Whoop was really interesting. Again, I learned this from my first million, but the way they did it was they would go to all the big athletes like Phelps, LeBron, but they wouldn't go to them. They would go to people who are important to them that weren't very famous. So like their middle school PE coach, right? Or like somebody else, they're like, hey, try this, and if you like it, would you mind mentioning it to LeBron, right? And because Whoop was so good, it was so accurate, they started giving it to those athletes, and they started promoting product.
Right. Like this, I wear the Aura ring, right, and I track my sleep. But I'm naturally just always talking about my sleep score all the time. So anyone who's associated with me knows that like I track my sleep score, and they're like, "How do you track your sleep score?" Well, I have an Aura ring. That's their marketing. It's simple. It's like product is everything, and that's all that. I'm the same way. I wake up and I think, "What calls do I have? None. Okay, what can I do for my product?" I started doing client feedback forums. What kind of feedback can I get for my product? I asked my team. I literally asked each member of my team what I could be doing better. Ask every client what I can be doing better. Like all the time. It's just, like, that's all you have to do. And if you just do that relentlessly, like you'll never fail ever.
When people told me about Tweet Hunter when I was growing it, I remember I got a few like people saying, "Hey, thank you for this product." My first question would be, "What do you hate about it?" And they would tell me something. I'm like, "Oh, this goes directly to the dev team," and it really helped. Like it really helped. So that was just something that was kind of useful. Also, by the way, I have a question about the Aura ring.
Let's hear it.
Did your sleep actually improve after you were trying the Aura ring?
Yes, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
It lets you identify the nights that you had bad sleep, and you'll know, right? Like the only reason I check my Aura ring is because I either feel good or I feel bad. When I feel bad, I check my Oura ring and I have bad sleep, and I'm like, of course. When I feel great, if I check my sleep, it's great. So on the days that I feel like shit, I will check my Oura ring and I see like my sleep score is like 60 and I got an hour of REM sleep. I'm like, okay, what did I do the day before? What happened? There's always something. Always. There's always something that I fucked up. Like now,
Like what? Like
for example,
watching phone on the bed?
one, I don't have my phone. I don't bring my phone in bed. Our bedroom is pretty sacred. Like we only want to be in bed to sleep or other stuff.
Or
Never,
write Twitter threads?
yeah, right. Twitter threads. Never. I stopped drinking water 3 hours before bed. That was Alex Becker's recommendation. Lifesaver, because I am a notorious wake up in the middle of the night to pee guy, and it'll fuck your sleep bad. You'll wake up halfway through and then you lose your REM sleep, which is the most important part of sleep. So I stopped drinking water 3 hours before bed. I've been getting much more sunlight. I stopped drinking caffeine after noontime. I'm trying to go earlier. Like ideally, you stop drinking caffeine early as possible in the day, but like for me, noontime is like the latest. It's usually earlier, like 11 or 10. Those things have helped a lot, and like sleep is really all you need to be a high performer, which I didn't realize until now. Like first of all, like this is a segue. I fucking hate productivity porn, like productivity bullshit. All these people on like
Like what?
Sorry, like everybody has these routines. Everybody wants to be on a system. I fucking hate like Notion. Like I used to be a big Notion guy. Like as I got more successful, I just dumbed it back down. Like it was like Google Calendar and Google Sheets. Then it was just pen and paper, and now it's just like my brain. It's like, it's like you think you need all of these productivity hacks and all of these apps. I hate how people have so many apps on their phone. Like I tried it all. I tried the gamification. None of it works for me. Like what.
That is like the one thing why I don't want to buy like a Nora ring or like fuck Apple Watches, by the way, or like old.
Yeah.
But like why I wouldn't? It's because I feel like I would get too obsessed with the things. Oh, bro, like when I learned how to like track calories accurately, I was so annoying to everybody around me. I'm like, do you know how many calories you're eating? And then like I would just think about it all the time. I was like, fuck, I put some sauce. How many grams was that? How many calories is it? So annoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing that mistake again with sleep. I'm just like, if I feel good, I feel good. And if I don't, I'm waking up anyway and doing the thing, right? So it's like, I don't want to
It's like training wheels. It's like training wheels. Like it has definitely given me a positive effect, like to the point where I've improved my overall routine because of it. But like my Oura ring's dead right now. I don't really care. Like I do like that it tracks my steps, but then again, I also don't care how many steps I have. So I'm an active person. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go surf tomorrow. It's like I imagine that's pretty active. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I don't know how to surf.
Me neither.
I gotta learn how to
Me
surf.
neither. I'm gonna drown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn.
There's no more. Yeah, I'm gonna get lessons.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Get one-on-ones. That's like a cheat. That's a cheat code, bro. When I was in Austin back then, I couldn't like if you wanted to get like one-on-one basketball classes with LeBron, you can't do that. That's not a thing. But you can get one-on-one classes with like the LeBron of Jiu-Jitsu. Right, with like the top contenders. You can get one-on-one class.
Less popular skills.
That's right. It's like, I mean, jiu-jitsu isn't as big as fucking basketball will never be, right? But that means that you can do that kind of thing. And, you know, to me, it's like, fuck yeah. So, like, numbers, it's like I got a few private classes with the European with the European Jiu-Jitsu champion of ADCC, which is like the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu. I got a few classes, one-on-one, $150 an hour with the best guy in Europe. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm taking this chance. Like, of course I'm gonna take. Yeah, you know. So it's cool to pay for one-on-one, and especially on those like underdeveloped.
I just got a personal trainer.
Sports.
I just got a personal trainer the other day, so I'm looking to not be a small boy anymore.
Oh, there you go. Is it a local one or online one?
Online. I was gonna do local, but no one really had the goals I was looking for. It's online. Met up through Twitter. It's gonna be good. I'm very excited. I go to a sick gym that has like infrared sauna, cold plunge, I'm like,
Of course,
I don't
of
actually know if
course.
any of that matters. He's probably gonna tell me no, but I don't know. Like, I'm like, I hate productivity porn, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go do cold plunge. So
No. It doesn't stop there. Let me tell you what happened. So you say you're like, oh yeah, fuck these gurus, right? So let's talk about some guruisms in Marcus's life. So like, Bali, Aura Ring, infrared sauna, cold plunge, the fucking snowball as a
coconut water,
mic,
coconut water.
coconut water. It's like you became what you hate.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. It's like I'm gonna write a book one day on this. Like everything needs to be nuanced, right? It's like everything at the end of the day is just whatever works for you and what makes you feel good. But like there are some things that are just like science. And I'm like, I have a picture. I took this picture today. I was at the local market and it was an apple. This apple was like this big, like so small. I've never seen an apple this small, and I realized I'm like, all the apples are this small. And then I realized I'm like, is this what apples really look like? Like in America, the apples are like this big. Like actually,
Right.
they're so huge. But here the apples are tiny, and they just picked them in the backyard. I'm like, man, and they're so cheap. They're like 20 cents. I'm like, I don't know what's going on,
Wait.
but
Why are you telling me this?
I'm just like, the point was I've been opened my eyes to like what food is really gonna look like, what food is really supposed to look like. So now I'm just becoming soul bra. That's where I'm going.
Oh, I got it now. I got it.
Yeah. Because you had mentioned
I was like,
the green.
why is he telling me about small apples? Did I miss something? What's going on? All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one, and adios.
Cheers.